The Mana remake series came out in. By the way, it looks okay. No, well, it really does look okay, except for the fact that it's like a cartoon with a person. There, well, essentially, that's how it looks. That there's no point in its existence. Well, the point, yeah, like, I don't understand why it's even needed, because Mana is a fairly new cartoon and there are other Disney cartoons that would be good to see adapted. In particular, I'm talking about Atlantis. I understand that Atlantis is kind of a failed Disney cartoon, but, damn, over time, it didn't gain huge popularity on disc, didn't it, chat? And I think many people would have liked the adaptation as a film, you know, when it was starting out.
Plus, it just begs to be made as a film adaptation. Well, it is, well, kind of, not exactly very cartoonish. This is the trend with remakes. Well, according to the vibe.
Disney had a perfectly logical justification. They remade Alice in Wonderland, The Dam, and Peter Pan, because those were cartoons released over 70 years ago. And, according to American law, creative works enter the public domain 70 years after the author's death. So, to renew the rights to their images, Disney remade the oldest cartoons, so that in the event of plagiarism, they could freely claim their rights to the new images. Wait, what other old Disney cartoons are there that haven't been adapted? Well, besides Atlantis, if we're talking about that. Well, actually, I wanted to say Alice in Wonderland, but Alice in Wonderland was by Tim Burton, and what year was that? 10 somewhere. So it's kind of irrelevant. By Hotas, Eldorado, Anastasia. Well, by the way, Anastasia is easily adapted, I think. It's literally there, in my opinion. The Count is practically unnecessary, except for the moments with Rasputin, and the cat is an aristocrat. It seems to me that adapting the seti aristocrats would be difficult. And, by the way, exactly, Hercules. Hercules is a natural fit, and it's right there in the Disney classics, isn't it? These are reimaginings of the old ones. And for viewers, it's a pleasant nostalgia in a new form. Then, seeing the success of such remakes with a mass audience, Disney started churning out remakes of later cartoons that no longer required such a need. Treasure Planet. Well, the situation with Treasure Planet is roughly the same as with Atlantis. Treasure Planet was a flop at the time, and many gave up on it. You can't say that, unlike Atlantis, it found popularity later on, either on media or online. It does have a community, but I think Atlantis would be much more profitable to remake. The whole point is so parents can show their kids. Spirit isn't Disney, bro. It's DreamWorks, in my opinion. Kids can enjoy the wonderful stories they grew up with, even though most of them look simply out of place in the live-action format. The cartoon characters look either ugly, or too graphic, or unnatural next to real people. The actors don't live up to their performances, and it's a once fairy-tale cartoon. Yeah, the overall vibe is that our graphics have gotten worse. A lot of people have been complaining about this. They're comparing, you know, superhero movies, some ordinary films from the and what's coming out now. It's just that because of tight deadlines, the people who do the graphics can't, well, do it to the highest quality. We've gotten to the point where the amount of content isn't offset by the fact that the quality is crap. That's kind of it. The world looks like a dim reflection of Disney's former magic in reality. These remakes are absolutely worthless. They bring nothing new to the table creatively. They even confuse things in places and make things worse. That's how Mulan, by the way, shows. Mulan is literal. They added so much, ruining the foundation. That's what infuriated me most about Mulan, because Mulan is one of my favorite cartoons. When I watched it, I thought, what have you done? What kind of super tolerant film is this, guys? Who knows what it's about and why? Quote. They also have some jokes about those Chinese camps, I think. They don't add anything to the cartoon, they just cut it short and benefit solely from the nostalgia of parents who don't really think about the essence.
Watch Linkin Park someday. Seriously, Linkin Park, I would watch it, but I think I'll get rejected for it. Well, Last Cook is amazing. It's amazing. The difference in quality.
Oh wait, we actually tried watching it. I remember in Garrus mode, we were sitting and launching Legalic with a goblin voice. It was. Between the original cartoon and the remake. What was originally conceived as a cartoon, well, it couldn't be better. No, Slink once, guys, it's the best of all worlds. It's one of my favorite films. Actually, I remember back in the day, after watching the films, I started looking for all the games I could, but I think all kids do that. You know, that thing where you watch a movie, a cartoon, and start looking for games based on it, just to add some extra content to it after watching it. I remember playing that Lord of the Ring game. Then there was the Hobbit game, that's exactly it, remember? where you play as Frodo and hide from the Nazgul or whatever they're called. Well, I don't remember the name of the game exactly. Well, I think it was called Hobbit, or something like that. And there was also Uslan's Ring strategy game, but unfortunately, I never played it because I was a dumb kid, but I did see others play. Well, it was back in the day, so you understand, that's how it really worked. You'd come over to a friend's house and watch others play. Like, let's play in real life. Yeah. In the form of a left-handed action game. After all, cartoon character designs can't be transferred to reality, so that. Well, about Lego, it just came out a little later. I think it came out either in the late 2000s or early 2010s, because, well, it couldn't have come out in the early 2000s for one simple reason. Lego Star Wars came out first, and that was in 2000, probably 2004, I think. Yeah, it should have been somewhere around that time. It felt the same as it did in the cartoon. Then, like, Indiana came out, well, after 2 Lego Star Wars films, and then the end, or Harry Potter was getting an itch somewhere, but the whole ending felt like it was later in the film. And the dynamic narrative pace that's typical for animation has to be slowed down, because, even in the 15th, well, then, even more so, something like this is impossible in reality. And there is a way out of this situation. You can completely reimagine the original story, like the capital in Wonderland with Maleficent or Cruella. Well, Maleficent, by the way, is basic. It's a hunt. That's just the opposite. She didn't have an original story. So, what is there to reimagine? You're literally just taking a part of the story that no one needed and completely reimagining it. But it's another thing to take some canon that everyone likes and say, guys, let's do it differently. Well, that's playing with fire. Sphinx in a slightly more soft story. As for the Wonderlist, the basics are literally a very good reimagining, in my opinion, although some people don't like it. What else did he bring up in the primer? I heard something. Wonderland with Maleficent or Cruella. Cruella. Well, Cruella is the same, they just showed her backstory. And the audience will get something simultaneously, completely new.
Because of this, I only agree with the case about Alice.
And it's natural, since a similar scenario and,
well, Cruella, by the way, also didn't pay off, just so you understand. Oh well, the other thing with Cruella is that Cruella was released during the time when these post-COVID consequences were happening or COVID was already underway. I don't remember exactly when it was released, but yes, many people attribute it to the fact that no one went to the cinemas because of COVID.
The product is rooted in the heroes, yes, and
now, overall, it feels like very few people go to the cinema. Even to these new pirated films, few people here. People still don't
bother with the film. They try. Well, okay, at least here it's explained by the fact that you generally have to wait another 5 days after the premiere. Only some cinemas pirate films. That's a preview version. You know what I'm talking about? Yes, but it's exactly the same abroad. Cinema prices have dropped dramatically there, too. So, well, it's the same crap all over the world. They just rework existing designs. This is truly high-quality cinema, which has as much right to exist as the various adaptations of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles or Sherlock Holmes. They don't try to repeat each other. Each of the existing adaptations looks at the characters and their story from a new perspective. And while this approach allows them to retain the copyright for the characters, it also prevents Disney from attracting audiences with familiar images, which, well, the foundation
is the main thing.
They went with the approach where you just show something old, exactly the same, and everyone's like, wow, cool. It worked with The Lion King. It worked the very first time Beauty and the Beast came out. Beauty and the Beast, when it came out, I think it was their first remake. If memory serves, it was from the new wave, the old one. It's clear that Alice and the like, but we're talking new wave. The main stumbling block in Beauty and the Beast is that you're simply copying what everyone likes. Aren't you kidding? And remember what people said about The Lion King. It's so awesome. There's a scene that's exactly the same. As for reimagining, well, unfortunately, they're really reimagining, simply adding unnecessary things. Well, Vladimina is new, but what do they call new character traits for Jasmine? They're stubborn, they create logical holes, including plot holes, and they added a song that, frankly, is absolutely disgusting. There you go. Yeah, the most amazing thing is that they're adding a song to what seems like a familiar musical, only in this case, one that's transitioned from animation to live action, but the song is crap. A blatant remake of Mana is the height of absurdity in this whole situation. After all, the original cartoon was released only 9 years ago. There's no need to renew the rights. It's not nostalgia for anyone. All kids today have seen Mana, if they were interested in watching it. And yet, from the teaser, we can already see that Disney is a dead ringer for the original, from the look of all the characters. Literally the same. locations, to the horribly graphic Rooster and Dwayne Johnson as Maui, whom he voiced. And yes, I'm not arguing, it's just, well, by the way, the only thing that's cool is Dwayne Johnson. We'll see what he'll look like as Maui, because he's just such a charismatic actor. I wouldn't say he's great as an actor, in the acting sense, but he has charisma. Oh, how powerful he is, damn. He's simply the most charismatic person in the world. A beautiful island, pretty water, similar cockroaches. That's wonderful, of course, but what's the point of all this, other than trying to make money? Why does this movie even exist? Does it fix the flaws of the original? Unlikely, considering they're trying to replicate the original. Rather, they will only become more of the inevitable production costs of the remakes I just mentioned. And they deliberately don't show us much of the main cast, only showing the mana up close once. Just so people don't hate Disney again for terrible acting. The film is constructed in such a way as to not show dialogue, so the acting here will be no better than in the recent Leo-istic. You see, simply being able to recreate the characters and a similar image isn't enough for a remake to be good. You need to not copy it exactly, but write a completely new story based on the existing one. And only then will it make sense. You need to try to make it better than it was before, not deliberately worse. Well, alas, that requires much more effort. One just wants to make money. It's
true, it's true, it's true. There's such a thing.